Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for the original Season 2, Episode 4, Live and Let Die, and this episode was amazing. Once again, such an amazing episode. This season is just so good. I'm loving everything about the season. I think everything this season is very interesting, and the thing about this episode that I definitely really loved is the tension in this episode. Constant tension. By far the best episode of the season so far. Shit is definitely about to go down in the show. You can already tell shit's gonna go down. Shit did go down this episode. Well, kind of. I mean, we thought it was going to. No deaths or anything, but still an amazing episode. I loved it. I loved everything that was going on in this episode. And, wow, what a great episode. Especially for this being their Halloween special. They really did a badass job with having this as their Halloween special. It was a perfect time to play it, and I thought it was great. So, let's just get to it. So basically, the episode starts off where we see Gia. She is, of course, the newest vampire in the pack with Marcel and Elijah. She is attending a party that Marcel has been throwing for his new vampires. And, it's going well and everything. It's a fun party, they're enjoying it. And the party's interrupted by a gang of werewolves who literally just barge in without a welcome. They're just in, and they barge in, and Marcel faces off with the apparent leader who tells him that their privileges have been revoked, and he says that he is warning Marcel once and only once. And that was, I thought, the perfect way to start the episode. Really intense, and it really set the tone well for tonight's episode as well. Because this episode is definitely very intense, definitely a very crazy episode, and I definitely really enjoyed that. So, Halloween celebrations are beginning the French Quarter, and we see Cami again. Now, of course, we have not seen Cami since episode 1, so it was very interesting to see her again, especially because she has no idea about the whole Esther being, Lenore, I think her name, Lenore being Esther, and, Vincent being Finn. So, she has no idea about this at this point. So, Cami's talking to who she thinks is Vincent, but of course she has no idea that Vincent is actually, Finn, so it's a very well done scene because she has no idea what's going on. She's basically telling him about life in the NOLA, and she doesn't suspect a thing because she's still in the dark when it comes to, who he really is, and he fools her into telling him what guy she is attracted to and why, and she begins a story about two guys that first sounds like Marcel, who basically says, there was one, it didn't exactly work out, but the second she describes is Klaus, and when she said Klaus, I freaked out, because if you guys know, I am a huge fan of, Cami and, Klaus. I've wanted them together for a very long time, and I thought this episode was kind of setting it up. I kind of feel like this season is setting it up. I kind of feel like what she said is setting it up. And I do feel she has genuine feelings for Klaus. Because if you remember, at the end of last year's season, Klaus admitted he has feelings for Cami. He pretty much said he loved her. So, basically, she says he got under her skin, and she told Finn that she saw goodness in him, so much goodness that she couldn't ignore it. So, that was definitely very interesting, and I was really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there, and I was definitely very into that. I thought that was awesome when they did that. So, Hayley is then startled by Elijah, who's yelling for Klaus, and basically she has all this sass, and I love his line. He's like, hey, and I love what Elijah said. He's basically like to Hayley, Hayley, there's a lot of drama going on right now. There's too much going on with me and the pack, and there's too much going on with me helping my brother, helping my brother out with our mother. So I really appreciate if you could please not have so much sass. I thought that was hilarious. I love how calm Elijah is, and that's one of the reasons why I love Elijah. I mean, he is so funny. Like, he's a great character. He's very emotional, but he's so funny, and I just thought that was great that we got that. I thought that was just such a funny line. I thought that was just absolutely fantastic because Hayley is definitely very sassy. When it comes to sass, Hayley is basically the queen of sass in the show. So, she points Elijah in the direction of Klaus and threatens him if he hurts her people, which I can understand because here's the thing. Even though Hayley's pack, she's no longer a werewolf. She is still, she's now a hybrid. She still is sort of a werewolf to them, and they still are her family. She's been around with these people for most of her life, and they mean a lot to her, so I get what she's saying, that if, he comes after the werewolves, she's gonna hurt, she's gonna hurt them. She's gonna basically attack them, which I understand. And I like that Hayley's on their side right now, but I do feel like that's not gonna last. I just feel like it's not going to, and I thought that was definitely very interesting. So, Cami gets in touch with, Klaus, and, basically says that Klaus gets in touch with Cami, and Cami says that she's very worried about Davina, who is in her parents' cabin in the woods with Mikael, and, Klaus ends up running into Davina. Oh, Elijah, I mean. Elijah runs into Cami, and basically Davina's with her parents in the cabin in the woods with Mikael, basically to get away from Klaus, because she knows that Klaus is coming after Mikael, and she doesn't want anything, bad to happen to Mikael. She wants their plan to work. She wants to be able to unlink Mikael, so basically her plan will work and his plan will work. So that way they each get their own, what they want. So it makes sense why she wants to do that. So basically, Klaus runs into Cami, and she's immediately startled and asks him what he wants. By the way, the first half of this episode, Klaus and Cami are alone, and I really like the way the first half of this episode is constructed. Definitely. He immediately asks where Davina is, because that's his main goal, is to find Mikael and find Davina, and tells her about Mikael and Davina. And Klaus was listening to the phone call all along, and he used his super senses to figure out where she is. And he says that he wants to try to reason with her to basically convince, because, here's the thing. Davina, for a while, was on their side. She was with them. She's part of their family. She still is family to Klaus. We know that family means everything to him. And in my opinion, I still feel he thinks of Davina as family. I mean, think about it. Marcel was so beaten up over the death of Davina. He watched Davina die. And, Marcel was so heartbroken over the death of Davina. And, of course, Klaus was there to help him get through it. I mean, there are so many things that, he has for Davina to, basically, he helped Davina so much last season that I still feel that he thinks that Davina is part of his family. Even though she's against him, I do feel that eventually they're a family and they are going to, be a family, definitely. I definitely really enjoy that. At the end of the day, they are united. So Klaus was, basically he was listening to the phone call along, and he says that he wants to try to reason with her, and if that doesn't work, then, well, he will have to talk her out along with Mikael. So basically, he's just trying to be rational here. He doesn't want to hurt them. He just wants to be rational. And again, I definitely really enjoyed that. So Lenore, or Esther's new body, because she's now controlling Lenore, who I gotta say, I think is actually a little bit more menacing than Cassie. I really liked the girl that played Cassie and, Esther. But I'm really digging Lenore, definitely. I really love the girl that's playing Lenore. I think she's definitely is a badass, and I love that. So she's continuing to teach Cole magic to locate Davina. Now, of course, we did not see Cole in the last episode. I was happy we saw Cole and Davina back in this episode. So he has apparently clouded herself from the locator spell, and Esther tells a bickering Cole and Finn to find Davina and get the white oat steak back, and basically that's their mission, that they need to get that white oat steak back. Because as we know, the only reason that he is pursuing this relationship with Davina is to get the white oak steak. So meanwhile, Davina and Mikael, they're going back and forth on what is best for the two of them. They're kind of arguing about things, which I thought was very interesting. And she ends up asking Mikael to teach her how to be strong because she wants to be able to fight people. Because think about it, Davina is not really the strongest person. Even though she's a witch, she is not the most... She's very, very powerful, yes, but she's not the strongest person. For example, she died because of something that happened to her, and I feel like definitely she's worried she's still going to die and she wants to be okay. So I definitely think that was a very good scene. I definitely really enjoyed that. It was good to see Davina again. Again, really love seeing her again. One, she's my favorite character. Two, she's hot. So, that was good. Plus, she is one of the biggest parts of the show and probably the most interesting part, in my opinion. So, Marcel is trying to reason with his vampire army. I always love these. I'm loving these conversations he's having with them. Every single episode so far this season, he's had one conversation with his vampire army. He's talking about knowing when to fight, and just then, Elijah breezes in and teaches them a very valuable lesson, basically about keeping their guard down. So, Finn meets with his werewolf army that he is building, and he tells him about the blood moon. He tells the new recruits that they will kill to unleash the beast within, and what it makes heartless is the fact that they are all young kids. Every single one of them is a young kid. I'm not kidding. Every single one of them is a young kid. Every single one of them, I definitely think this is very interesting that every single one of them is a young kid. And I personally thought that was a very good thing to see. I like seeing that every single one of them is a young kid. I like seeing, I definitely like seeing that. I thought that was definitely, in my opinion, very well done. Also, as far as, we did see one thing with Josh, which this recap does not talk about. Josh is, having a hard time, because as we know, Josh is now part of the, vampire pack. He's on Marcel's side. So he's part of this vampire pack and everything. He's kind of wanting a love, sort of like a love interest and everything. I enjoyed that scene overall. We'll talk a little more about that a little bit later, but basically, Davina and Mikael are beginning their training, and he teaches her the ways that his father made him, the ways his father, the way his father raised him, which was definitely very interesting, because, of course, Mikael is a very violent person. He's considered the most violent vampire of all time on the show, so, obviously, he's very violent. It was cool to see him reminisce about his father, because, of course, probably he resembles what his father taught him. And they begin fighting with their staffs, and he strikes, wounding her, but giving her no mercy. She's like, my ankle hurts. I'm like, Davina, stop being a pussy and just get up, because seriously. So, he gives her no mercy, and tells her to get on her feet. It really shows that Mikael doesn't give a shit about anyone except himself. She stands and shows her strength, and he tells her that she learned a very valuable lesson today. And, I thought that was definitely a very well done scene. I really enjoyed that. So Cami and Klaus are kind of bickering back and forth, and she's trying to squeeze out of him exactly what he wants. She doesn't know what he wants at this point. So she also coaxes him to telling her why he wants to kill his father, and have him reveal pretty much everything to her. So that's what she wants to do. She wants him to reveal pretty much everything to her. And Davina's hurt, and she calls Cole, who she hasn't seen in a while. She hasn't seen Cole/Caleb in a while. And tells him that she needs him to bring some things to her. And when she said that, I'm like, okay, definitely this episode's about to get extremely intense, and I'm really loving where they're going. I gotta say, I really love Davina and Cole together. I think they're great together. I think they're working great together. Daniel Campbell and I can't remember the guy that plays Caleb. I can briefly think of his name, but I can't right now. Daniel Sharman is doing an amazing job. Like, they have such good chemistry on this show, and I definitely really enjoy that. So Elijah's training Gia, and she has the quest. She is quite because he's basically her she's basically his apprentice, and he's basically helping her out, and she has quite the questionable and very feisty nature. And they continue their hand-to-hand contact, and he teaches her how to gain the upper hand. And just when she goes to grab his heart and twist, Hayley comes in with a werewolf leader who asks for Elijah's help. So finally, Finn and Esther's reckless nature is beginning to have an effect on the werewolf army. So this was definitely very interesting. And basically now, Elijah's very torn, because now he's working for Klaus, he's working for the vampires, and now he has a offer for the werewolves. So, really, things just can't get any more easier for Elijah. It just has to keep getting more and more complicated for him, and I really felt bad for Elijah, because it can't get even more easier for him. So, I thought that was definitely a very good twist, and I definitely really enjoyed that. And they're now seeking the Michelson brothers and other vampires to help in order to gain control once again. That's what they want to do. They want to gain control. They want to know, they want to be basically in full control. That's what they want to do here. So, the peace doesn't end up lasting long. It doesn't. It doesn't last long at all. Which I knew was going to happen. I knew this wasn't going to be, lasting long or anything. Because Klaus storms out, and Caleb has made it to the cabin to help Davina with her foot injury. And the two are growing a little bit closer, as we see. And as I said, I definitely really enjoy that. And in my opinion, I really feel Cole has genuine feelings for Davina. I think after this episode, he does. I think he truly does care about her. And at the end of the day, I feel he might end up turning his back on Finn and Esther. Because him and Finn keep getting into so many arguments that I definitely feel that maybe he's gonna turn against them and work with Davina. I just feel that he really does care about her. He's caring about her more and more as it goes on. And he asks her what's going on in the cabin. She asks him if he trusts her. And Cole makes a smart move in allowing Davina to come to him rather than rushing the information out of her. So I thought that was actually really good what he did. And because he did that, that really made me feel he cared about her. Because he didn't just say, hey, I need this information right now. He wasn't like that. However, Esther or Finn probably would have approached that a little bit differently. So I thought that was definitely a very interesting scene. So the werewolves give Elijah a rundown on what Finn and Lenore are planning. And Elijah tells them that this is their chance to make amends with the past. And Cole ends up closing the door to the cabin but sees something strange in the room. And it's Davina's spell room. And he takes a sneaky look around while she's resting only to find the white oak stake. Before he can grab it, though, Mikael approaches him and calls him he knows the magic to break Davina's spell on the bracelet. He bargains with Marcel and asks for his safety in return for releasing Mikael from the bond. So that was definitely very interesting what's going on there. And I like seeing these two working together. I wasn't expecting that, but I thought that was definitely really interesting that they're kind of, I don't want to say working together, but they kind of are working together. In a sense, they are. They're working together in a sense, definitely. So I thought that was definitely a very interesting twist, and I wasn't expecting that, but I thought that was definitely really interesting what's going on there. So the werewolves walk the streets of the French Quarter, but they are attacked by Gia and Marcel, and Hayley leads Oliver and the majority of the young ones to an underground passageway out of the quarter. And Oliver ends up meeting up with Elijah. Of course, Oliver, he meets with Elijah. And basically what he says is, he asks where the rest of his people are, and Hayley and Josh are leading the others away. And Elijah and Oliver are ambushed by Lenore's other werewolf henchman, and he does not back down, because even when they tell him that Lenore wants him, Elijah and Oliver prepare to face off very outmatched. So this is definitely very intense. This is going on. However, it's not the most intense scene in this episode. We'll talk about what that is in a second. So the younger werewolves are busted off to safety from Lenore, and Oliver and Elijah take out the entire army, but they're attacked by Finn, and just as Elijah goes to end Finn, he is staked by Esther, and basically Finn is dead. So Finn's done and everything, and I thought that was definitely very interesting. I wasn't expecting it, but Finn's done. So I thought that was definitely a very interesting way to end it, and I wasn't expecting Finn to die, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. I wasn't expecting that. And I like that they're moving things quickly here. They're not moving things too quickly because, Esther's not dead yet or anything. But I do like that this is not going, so slow-paced. I definitely enjoy that. The original is a very fast-paced show. It's also a slow-paced show in the sense that it's all about plotting. It really is. So things have been completely shaken at this point because, the question is where Elijah's role ends. However, we do remember that the werewolves told Elijah that Lenore needs him, so why would she kill him? That's the question, because, they said Lenore needs Elijah to help them with her pack. So the question is, why the fuck would they just kill him? That doesn't make any sense. So I thought this was a very interesting scene. I thought that was just very, very intense what's going on there. By the way, guys, there were no flashbacks in this episode, which I was a little bit surprised about. I thought the originals was sort of getting into, a system of maybe showing more flashbacks, but they didn't show any flashbacks in this episode, which was fine, but, I was kind of expecting more flashbacks. It's not that I, missed them or anything. I was fine with the flashbacks we got, that we didn't have any flashbacks this episode, but I would have wanted more flashbacks, okay? That's just me personally. I thought the flashbacks were really good in the last two episodes, and I personally would have wanted some flashbacks. I just would. So, then we get what is probably the most intense scene in the episode, because Davina's sleeping, and it's already a very intense episode. It's already very intense, and I definitely really enjoyed it. I thought that was definitely really good. Also, there was a scene with Cami and Klaus dancing, and I thought that was definitely really good when they were dancing and everything. Klaus didn't actually look happy, though, while he was dancing. He was just, staring at her. I still feel he has genuine feelings for Cami. You can just tell that the two of them have a lot of chemistry, and I just feel that they are probably going to get together. That's just my personal opinion. I feel that something definitely is going to spark between them. I don't know what it is, but I feel that something is definitely going to spark. So, then we see, basically what ends up happening is, as Davina is sleeping, Cole wakes her up and she asks him to leave with her right that instant. She wants him to leave right away, and I'm like, why does she want him to leave with her? Basically, that is because Klaus is approaching the cabin. He is pissed off at this point. And, of course, he is done. He has wanted to see Davina the entire episode, and he's kind of just very impatient and is sick of her not, reasoning with him. So, he sees Davina and Cole doing what looks like to be some kind of spell to save themselves. He hears his father approaching and senses his presence. He's literally like to Davina, "It's over, Davina, come on out now." I thought that was just really intense what's going on there. He hears his father approaching and senses his presence. He picks up the homemade staff with the Michelson branding, throws it to the house. He threatens Davina to let his father out, and Michael approaches Cole and asks him to free him from the spell. So, they're literally staring right at each other at this point. You can tell that shit's about to go down. You can tell that they hate each other. This is just so intense what's going on. And I loved it. I loved that this was going on. I thought this was extremely intense, and I thought it was extremely well handled. So, basically, Michael tells Klaus that he traveled all the way back from hell for the fight, and the battle begins. And it seems evenly matched now with Klaus, fueled by his hatred and anger towards his father. They both end up striking each other. There's a moment where Klaus, you think is going to actually die. Like, there's a moment where you think that's going to, Michael's going to take out Klaus. Now, obviously, he's not going to because Klaus is the main character of the show. And if Klaus dies, of course, every single original dies. So, obviously, that's not going to happen because if that happened, that'd be the end of the show. Because Rebecca be dead, Elijah be dead, Marcel be dead, like, all of them would be dead. So, obviously, they're not going to kill off Klaus, but there is that moment where you're wondering, okay, is Klaus going to be okay here? However, Michael falls victim as a blade enters his body, and you think that he's dead, and, I thought that was definitely really good that you thought he's dead. And Cami rushes to Davina's help, because she wants to make sure that Davina's okay, and she meets up with Klaus, who basically makes, and she makes him promise one very important thing that I really hope he keeps his promise for. I don't know if he's going to keep the promise. We'll have to see. The promise is that he will not hurt Davina. Basically, in any way, shape, or form, he will not hurt Davina. I feel like he would keep that promise, but I definitely feel like Davina's eventually going to cross a line where Klaus is going to have to hurt her. He's going to have to, because the whole reason Davina's doing this is because she hates Klaus. She despises Klaus. She feels Klaus is a horrible human being. She's wanted to kill him. That's why I feel that Klaus is definitely probably not going to listen to reason. I do feel he's eventually going to break that promise. At this point, I don't think so, but he's kind of pissed off at this point, so I honestly don't know. So, she and Klaus share a hug as they look at Michael's body, and, he tells her that he, thought of her advice. Early in the episode, Cami had given him advice, that basically to attack his father for what he did, and to not hesitate, and but let him live. Don't kill him. Let him live. And I thought that was really good, that, basically, she says, is he dead? And he says no, because he wanted to let him live. And there's so much chemistry going on between Klaus and Cami in the scene. Like, seriously, these two need to get together. I don't know when, but they're definitely going to get together at some point, and I think that definitely is very interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. And then we go is probably one of the most surprising scenes of the episode, because Josh is waiting in the bar for someone, and of course, as we said, Josh wanted, some assistance and some help, and it turns out that he is actually teaming up with the leader of the werewolf army. And there's now this bond between a vampire and a werewolf, and the two are just sharing their thoughts about each other, and this is going to be very foreshadowing, and I kind of feel like these two are going to, I don't know if the werewolf army, if the leader of the werewolf army is gay. I think he is, because, Josh and him have a connection, so I really like Josh's character. I've liked Josh's character from the beginning, but I'm interested in seeing where this is going to go, definitely, because I think this is going to be really cool. If they end up working together, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to provide a lot in the show, and it's definitely something I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting for this to happen. I think that definitely is very cool what's going to happen there. So, I am definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen between Josh and, the leader of the werewolf army. I don't know his name, but I definitely am looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. So, the very end of the episode, we actually get this very good montage, in my opinion. I really like the montage in the episode. I thought it definitely was very good. Basically the song was like, smile because it's gonna get worse or something like that. I thought the song was very good. And Marcel is pouring Hayley a drink, and they all celebrate the little victory that they were able to achieve. And Gia's with them, and Gia's completely worried about Elijah, who was taken out by Finn and Esther, and no one knows what happened to him. No one knows what happened to Elijah at this point. So, Klaus is loading up his father's body in the back of the car, but Michael awakens, puts the body from his body, and it's sure, isn't over, because we know he's alive. We already knew he was alive, but you can tell that Michael is going to get his revenge. You can just tell. He takes the blade and he stares at it, and I'm like, okay, Michael is going to stab Klaus with that. I know that for a fact. Michael will stab Klaus, because he will take out Klaus if he has to. If he has to kill Klaus, he will do it. I know that for a fact, that he is not going to hesitate. He's going to kill Klaus. He doesn't give a shit if he's his son. He doesn't care who he is. He will kill Klaus no matter what. So, Elijah, then we find out the biggest twist, probably the most heartbreaking twist of the episode, and it's basically that Elijah has become a prisoner of his own mother and brothers, and Esther tells him that she only wants them to be a family again, and says she needs to purify him before that can happen. And that is going to be very interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. And overall, guys, I loved this episode. I thought this episode was absolutely fantastic. So intense. So much shit happened in this episode. And I loved everything, especially that final, the fight between Klaus and Michael. While neither of them died, it really paid off, and I definitely feel that's not over. Definitely Michael is going to stab Klaus with that, Blade, because he's staring at the Blade like, oh my, he's like, yep, I'm gonna kill him. He's like, yep, I'm not gonna hesitate. I'm gonna kill him. Because Mikael at first, you know, this has been his mission to kill Klaus, but I don't know if he necessarily wanted to kill Klaus. I think he just wanted to hurt him. But now he's looking at the stake and he's like, yep, I'm gonna kill him. There's no questioning. He's gonna kill him, definitely. So, as far as Elijah goes, I don't know what's gonna be Elijah, but I do know that next week is Nina Dobrev's episode. Which basically, this is going to be Elena's very first ancestor. So I don't know if this is going to connect to the Vampire Diaries, but what I do know is that she is going to be a past love of Elijah's. We saw her in the promo. She looks absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see Nina Dobrev on the originals. I think she's going to be great, and I like that she's not playing Elena. Obviously, she's not going to play Elena, and I like that she's not, because I like seeing her play different characters. You know, Catherine added something. I'm interested in seeing what this character is going to add. I don't know her name yet, but I'm interested in seeing what that's going to happen there. As far as Josh and this werewolf leader go, I am very interested in seeing what's going to happen there. I think that definitely is a very good twist. I thought that that was handled really well, actually. And my thing here is, are they going to team up? Like, what's going to happen here? There's definitely a lot of questions with that. I think that's really cool. And you got a lot of, questions as to what's going to happen there. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing, what ends up happening. I think that's going to be really intense, definitely. And then as far as, basically what's going to happen with Marcel is, I think, as I said, I think I know what's going to happen. Also, is Klaus going to keep that promise to Cami about Davina? I don't know if he's going to. I feel eventually he's going to turn on Davina. I think at this point he does think of Davina as family, but he's kind of upset with her. Think about it. Like, he never got to reason with her, and he really got pissed off about it, and he almost was good, and he probably would have killed him. Probably he would have. I mean, because of Cami, he didn't. And that's why I feel that Cami and Klaus are going to get together. Did you see as much chemistry with them as I did? I saw so much potential with them in this episode. I love their chemistry. I thought their chemistry was absolutely fantastic in this episode. I love seeing Davina and Cole as well. I think they are very well done together. I really like their arc that's going on. And my other thing is, with Hayley, do you feel that Hayley is going to kind of go on her own? I feel like at this point, yes, Hayley's working with Marcel and Elijah, but I feel like she's going to end up working by herself at some point. Like, I don't know what it kind of makes sense if you think about it. Like, I feel like she's just going to end up working by herself, because she's worried that they're going to turn on the werewolves. However, it seems like maybe the vampires and werewolves are going to team up together. We'll have to see what happens there, definitely. Because as we know, Klaus is pro-wolf and Marcel is pro-vampire. Now, if they end up working together, that's going to be very cool. However, it's kind of going to be a repeat of Season 1. Because, of course, in Season 1, Klaus was against Marcel. Now, Marcel is not against Klaus in any way, shape, or form. He's just against what Klaus is doing. I think Klaus, and Marcel, they very much respect each other. We know this. And I think if they had to, they would definitely team up. I think that's going to happen, definitely. We'll have to see what happens there. But I can already tell next week's episode is going to be amazing. And overall, guys, love this episode. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Gotham. So I will see you guys for that. And again, let me know what you guys thought. And, yeah, so bye.